Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Frand, and I've been a Math Olympiad coach since retiring from UCLA in 2006. This year, we've moved to Zoom instead of the classroom, and I'd like to share what we're doing with you. The challenge that we're facing is that schools are moving to distance learning. So the question was, how can we adapt the Math Olympiad training to an online format? But just the mechanics of conducting a Math Olympiad was not the real challenge for us. The real challenge was, how do we create an online space where our students feel safe taking risks? We emphasize the problem-solving process in our classes and the discussion of solutions and alternative solutions and of making mistakes. How do we create an environment where our mathletes can feel comfortable taking risks and trying complex multi-step problems without fear of being put down for not getting it right or not being the fastest? To address the challenge, during summer of 2020, I put together a planning team of coaches I've worked with and former mathletes who are now in middle and high school, who had spent the spring doing distance learning using Zoom, gaining experiences which could be very useful in helping us figure out how to take our Math Olympiads online. We had focus groups and brainstorming sessions, and when ready, invited in 4th and 5th graders to do practice and evaluation sessions. Our recommendations are based upon these experiences. Making Math Olympiad successful on Zoom required 3 very different behaviors than we had experienced in the classroom. First, the Zoom sessions will be engaging and fun. Mathletes want to come, not have to come. It's not a required class. We want them to leave feeling like, I can't wait till I get back for more. Interactions and discussions are not just important, but they're critical. It's how they talk to each other, how they talk about the problems and talk about the excitement and the fun of doing mathematics. So having small breakout groups with just 3 or 4 mathletes so that they can get to know each other and talk to each other about the ideas is very important. But 3 or 4 mathletes in a room by themselves, they won't talk to each other. So we need a facilitator, a middle or high schooler who can make sure that everyone participates. Our Zoom sessions are planned for 45 minutes. We may extend them longer as we gain more experience, but the coach will lead an opening session for about 10 minutes. Then the facilitators will lead a breakout group session for about 25 minutes, and we'll come back for a coach-led closing group session for about 10 minutes. Whole group, what the coach does. Let me talk about myself as an example. The opening session, I do a warm-up drill, and then I unpack a problem with my students. I make sure that they know what they're solving for, that they understand the vocabulary and concepts in the problem. And then I tell them that they'll finish the problem when we go into the breakout groups and discuss it with many other problems. When they finish in the breakout groups and come back for our closing session, I do a math detective activity with them. I have a worksheet for them with one of the problems they worked on in the breakout groups, with questions like, what did this mathlete do right? What did this do wrong? And it shows some work for them to analyze. This is all an online adaptation of what we call the solution strategy worksheets. We've been using these for years in my classes, where the students have an opportunity to look at other students' work and learn to check their own work by analyzing mathematics learning to read it. They learn how to use their own mistakes as a learning opportunity and going back and looking at their own work after going through these math detective activities. What do the facilitators do in those breakout groups? First and foremost, engage the mathletes in discussions. Help them feel comfortable being in a small group talking about math and talking about other ideas. Unpack problems with the mathletes and then give them time to work on those problems. And very important, explore different solutions with them. Have them each present their solution and talk about them in a very supportive and trusting way, non-judgmental ways. Play games with them. Have time to be able to do something other than just doing problems to keep them engaged. Play math games like Buzz or Guess My Number. Have fun. The most important thing for facilitators and the mathletes is everybody needs to leave there feeling like, wow, I can't wait to come back. Where do the Math Olympiad problems come from? It's the coach's responsibility to select the problems and post them on a Google Drive or shared drive so the facilitators can get them. The facilitators access and display the problem using Zoom screen share. I'm using Zoom screen share to do this presentation. The mathletes read the problem on the screen and use paper and pencil to solve the problems. We emphasize that the most important tool mathematicians use is paper and pencil, and we expect them to have it ready to use in every session. Implementing a program requires organizational decisions, the first of which is who's the coach? Is it a teacher or parent? Is it a class or a club? Is it organized through the school or part of the after-school program? Are the students invited or selected to participate? At my school, we do a combination. We give them some sample Math Olympiad problems, and then we ask them if they like doing those kinds of problems and whether they'd like to be in a class doing those kinds of problems, and use that in making our decision. The facilitators need to be recruited from the middle and high school. We recommend one facilitator for every 4 mathletes. We chose that ratio because when you do share screen, you can get 5 pictures on the screen at the same time. So that way everybody in a breakout group can see each other and interact with each other. Facilitator training is the most critical part of a successful program. We have to remember that we're asking middle and high schoolers who've had little experience in running groups, in managing others, to take on a very important responsibility. So providing them adequate training is very important. First and foremost, how do you establish rapport in a breakout group? Learning how to ask icebreaker questions and asking them questions that have nothing to do with math, for example, about their favorite foods, what they like to do, questions that help the students all gain comfort talking to one another. And then, most important, is how to teach problem solving without actually doing the problem for the mathletes. This is difficult for even experienced coaches, but it is at the heart of helping kids become better math problem solvers. How to engage all the mathletes in the discussion. When you have someone who doesn't want to participate or someone who wants to take over and be the answer to everything, learning how to deal with that's important. And most important, how to build trust by modeling respect in all answers. Mantra in my classes is mistakes are expected, inspected, respected, and learned from. And engendering that in all of the mathletes is a critical part of building confidence and our ability to solve problems. We tell our facilitators they're going to improve with practice, and we have a feedback form for them to fill out after each session to help them grow and become more comfortable as a facilitator. There are technical issues. You need to have a Zoom account established. You need to be trained on how to use shared screen and breakout groups in particular and become comfortable with the Zoom environment. The coach and the facilitators must have a shared Google Drive or other account, either within the school or externally, so that you can share problems with them, work with and manage their students. Technical and other issues occur, and it seems like always at unexpected times. Just go with the flow. Things will work out. You'll all learn and have fun together and make it a really positive experience.